So I have some news, Ahmad. So for those of you listening out there, this is the last recording of No Pump Fakes before my birthday. With that being said, I'm happy as hell that the Lakers were able to get me one damn win before my birthday. Because let me tell you something. Feel me? November 2nd is a damn national holiday. But I tell you what, if the Lakers were to start off the damn season 0-7, it wouldn't have been a good birthday.
Yeah.
So to know that the Lakers
won a game
have won a game, oh man, it's the small wins, literally. So, but the Los Angeles Lakers are in the win column. Russell Westbrook is now coming off the bench. How do you feel about that?
How the mighty have fallen. I mean, this is crazy. Los Angeles Lakers
it depends on how you view it, but yeah, how do you feel about Russ coming off the bench?
Well, I mean, I remember we talked about Russell Westbrook when he first got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, and you and I both said you questioned like fit, and we also talked about like the talent aspect of the Los Angeles Lakers when they acquired Russell Westbrook, and we all both of us mentioned it was just like, well, we'll see how it works. You know, we had high expectations because it's Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. But now Russell Westbrook is coming off the bench. I will say, like, this is kind of what we already kind of talked about like a year ago. We basically said, like, he can start, but you have to stagger his minutes with the second unit to allow Russell Westbrook to play his game. Last year with Frank Vogel, they did not do that. Or he can come off the bench, and we were both like, well, is Russell Westbrook going to come off the bench? Now, I will say, Darvin Ham has done an excellent job with kind of managing his relationship with Russell Westbrook before the season even started and kind of like being a great coach. A lot of times when people talk about coaching, they think about X and O's, but it's also about managing relationships, sometimes even more about managing relationships over X and O's. That's why we see Doc Rivers constantly getting coaching opportunities. But, and that's no shade thrown at Doc, but that's just a fact. That's just the reality of the situation.
There you go.
That's just the reality of the situation. But for Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, I like it, because it allows him to attack at the first level of the basketball court, allows him to get in rhythm, allows him to be comfortable having the ball in his hands because he's used to having the ball in his hands. The problem with the whole situation was like, all right, in order to put the ball in Russell Westbrook's hands, the Lakers had to take the ball in LeBron James' hands. But now since Russell Westbrook's coming off the bench, it makes things a little bit more easier. And I'm proud of Russell Westbrook for accepting this role because we know this guy's a superstar. You know, they have egos. But I will say it's easier for Russ to accept this role if the Los Angeles Lakers are winning. That's the thing. If they're not winning, then it probably becomes an issue like, well, I'm coming off the bench and we're still losing games. So as long as the Los Angeles Lakers are winning, I feel like this is the excellent opportunity for Russ and the Los Angeles Lakers to continue to kind of like build momentum. But if they start losing again, then we'll be having a conversation a week or two from now talking about should the Los Angeles Lakers trade Russell Westbrook again.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. I think it's a combination of both of those things. One, when he was starting, they were losing, and now that he's come off the bench, they won a game. Now, obviously, of course, it's not Russ's fault, but I think when you explain certain, or you come up with certain recommendation for the team, you think to yourself, all right, well, what we were trying wasn't working. So it's like, okay, what can be done to really change stuff? And I'm glad, like, to your point, he's accepted it because that's not an easy thing to do, especially, well, he's been in 14 years, and now he's won an MVP, played in the finals, showed up in the finals, and to now, be asked to come off the bench, especially too when you're still a high-level basketball player. Like, whether you feel like Russ, quote unquote, is at the tail end of his career, he's still like up there in terms of his ability. That he's not, this isn't Russ's
still
last season.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's still a starter. He can still, make an all-star game. This isn't a player that's like, okay, man, this is, year 17, 18 for me, and I just want to get a ring, so I'm going to make so many sacrifices. You can make the case that he'd be starting on the majority of ball clubs in the NBA. So for him to be willing and accept the change, I think it shows the character and the competitor that Russ really is. So, but we'll see though. I'm glad. Again, it is just one game that they won, but I mean, hey, brick by brick at this point. And it had to happen soon, right? Like, it's one thing to go 0-1, one thing to go 0-2, one thing to go 0-3, but you digging yourself a hole that is extremely challenging to get out of.
Yeah, I had to keep shouting out Darvin Ham because, like, That's what coaching is about. That's what building relationships is about. Because let me tell you something. If this was Frank Vogel, hell no. This wouldn't have happened. This wouldn't have happened with Russell Westbrook accepting this role with the Los Angeles Lakers. And I hope it continues to work. And I feel like it can work. But at the same time, a lot of people are talking about trades. If it does not work, I don't feel like Russell Westbrook is the only, player that should be on the trading block if this does not work. I hope it works. I hope this is a new turning block for the Los Angeles Lakers because constantly I'm hearing about Russell Westbrook. But one thing about Russell Westbrook is just like he actually plays. He's going to show up. He's going to compete. So hopefully going forward, this is a step in the right direction. I'll just leave it at that right now.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right because my bold prediction for the season was that Anthony Davis would play 82 games, and we talk about durability. Just overall being available. Russ has definitely been that over the course of his entire career. He's had a small history of injuries, and there really hasn't been like a load management kind of thing when it comes to him.
Yeah.
If he's able to play, he's going to play. And I know, Russ is like a very emotional basketball player. I feel like he wears his heart on his sleeve, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think it's like there's been a lot of people that have been waiting for Russ to reach a certain level in his career. Very similar to LeBron, but the difference is with LeBron is, he doesn't talk nearly as much shit as a Russ does.
Right.
But people just laying and waiting for that moment, and now it was kind of somewhat there, and
the big question I have is if the Los Angeles Lakers are successful and this continues to work with Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. Now, what trades do you do? Because we've heard Miles Turner recently come out on a podcast, basically said like, "Yo, Lakers, come get me." But if this continues to work with Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, Anthony Davis and LeBron James, what other moves do you make? Because still, I look at this roster. As great as those three players are, they still have a lot of holes for us, like lack of shooting, wing depth, guarding, all those things. So if Russell Westbrook continues to excel coming off the bench, what moves do you do if you're the Los Angeles Lakers if you're not trading Russell Westbrook?
Right. Well, I mean, I think the biggest question here is the shooting. That, hands down. I mean, we talked about this on a previous podcast before. It's like, if you want to build a team around LeBron James, get him some shooters. It's been a successful thought process for now the past 2 decades. It's not a challenging concept. LeBron James thrives when he has shooters around him. But I will say, though, that if they continue to win, then I don't see the point into looking into too many more trades. I know the obvious and glaring one was, trading Russ for Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, and a couple picks,
Still
whatever.
could be.
Right. It could be. But I'm saying, if, as you mentioned, if he continues to come off the bench and they continue to win, look, the Lakers were 0-5, 0-6 or whatever, and they still weren't making any moves. You mean to tell me that if they made this move and then they start winning, they're still going to be looking for trades? I don't think that's going to happen. But my biggest thing is if they can get it done, is shooting. But if Russ comes off the bench and they go on a little 4 or 5 game win streak, maybe we kind of let this all play out. But if they continue to go, start off the gate 1-5, 1-6, whatever, let's get some snipers on the team.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. I think they need shooting, like you said. Even if the Lakers win 10 games in a row, I still think they're going to need shooting because we know that shooting in the playoffs is a premium that you must have. Shooting, rebounding, defense. Those are the 3 components of winning the championship. So it's interesting to see. But I kind of want to switch gears, talk about another team in Los Angeles who I felt like a lot of people talk about the Lakers because the Lakers is, the big brother, and you got the Los Angeles Clippers who's the little brother. But the Los Angeles Clippers, regarding the expectations they came into the season, I haven't really been moved by the Los Angeles Clippers. I want to know your thoughts on that situation.
Yeah, I mean,
I know it's early, but
I was about to say it's still early, and the only reason why I say that, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, is one, it's happened to other teams that we've also had high expectations for. I think I was looking at like the combined records of like the Lakers, the Nets, and I believe the Heat, and they all started off like it was like 3-12 or something crazy like that. And so those are obviously, it's a new year, so you never know what's going to happen. But those 3 teams, and I guess I would throw the Clippers in there as well, they have players where it's like, okay, I still have confidence to think that they can get it done. And on top of that, they still have some sort of chemistry, right? This isn't a team that's trying to quote unquote figure things out. I know obviously with the addition of Kawhi, but for the most part, that Clippers team, I know they added John Wall, but it's not like what the Lakers were last year, right?
Mhm.
It's not a situation like the Nets with Harden, Kyrie, and KD where they were trying to figure everything out. I think look, some teams hit a bump in the middle of the season, some hit a bump, towards the end of the season, but I
Mhm.
think for right now, if the Clippers are having their moment in the beginning, just give them some time. And again, like I said, that's a team who I feel like they can afford in a way to let certain games kind of fall out. I don't think they're going to be competing, for a play-in spot. Now obviously home court advantage comes into play later on when we talk about seeding, but overall, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and just wait it out a little bit more. I'm not hitting the panic button. They're too talented, in my opinion, for us to say, well, this project didn't work, or we gotta go a different direction. So I'm
Yeah.
still playing the waiting game on the Clippers, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, I would feel a lot more comfortable with the talent argument because you know how I'm always about talent. Based on what we've
Yeah,
seen this past year with the Nets and the Lakers, it's just like,
right,
yeah,
and
you say,
and they have that. Well, you're right, right, but I mean, but the thing is though, with those other teams, the Lakers and the Nets,
Mhm.
I think as much as we wanted to be excited with the talent, we still understood that there's only one basketball, right? The
Yeah,
part of the reason why the Warriors were so good, even with Kevin Durant, it wasn't just because they had scores. It was because of the way they played. Now, obviously, you feel me? You add a 6'10" guy that can shoot threes and put
yeah,
the ball on the floor the way KD can, you're going to thrive. But they were able to play well with one another between Steph, Clay, Draymond, Kevin. You know what I'm saying? I think now, though, what we just saw with the Nets. Sometimes, even when the talent is all on the same roster, that doesn't mean it's going to work out. So, but again, it's better to have talent and question it than to not have it at all and think, okay, we just gonna build off chemistry,
yeah,
So, but again, and again too, with the playing style that the Clippers have, you got two great two-way wings. So when in doubt, you would like to think, okay, even if our best players are having a bad shooting night, at least they can hopefully defend at a high
yeah.
level. You know what I'm saying? So they have that for them.
Are you worried about Kawhi Leonard any? Because Kawhi hasn't played a lot this year,
No,
even
no,
though.
I'm not concerned because we've seen this from Kawhi before. Like
Mhm.
if this was like this is his first year doing that, I'm like, oh shit, well, is something happening? Like this is, you know, Kawhi for what like Kawhi is probably going to go down as one of the best players ever that has probably never really, really, really been and going to be in like top MVP conversations because of the lack of games he's probably played. But I'm
Yeah,
not really concerned. Like knowing Kawhi, I think is he does obviously move at the beat of his own drum, but at the same time, it's like he's proven enough where it's like okay, we're gonna let him act in a certain way or play a certain amount of games because we know when it's time for him to show up, he's done that and he's probably going to continue to do that.
yeah.
Right?
They got a lot.
Is it something with you?
No, I'm not really. I mean, a little bit. I'm not. I'm only a little concerned because I feel like I want to see Kawhi on the court. I want to see him get healthy, and the only way to like get in basketball game shape is for him to play and knock off some of that rust. Now, I understand that Kawhi is used to load management, and basically the San Antonio Spurs started that back when he was with them. But at the same time, you got to play and to develop chemistry and develop, camaraderie and all that good stuff, and also develop like just consistency on the basketball court. So it's hard to just say like one of the reasons why the Miami Heat struggled when Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James was because LeBron James was the only one playing. Like Dwayne Wade was in and out of the lineup during their title runs a lot because he was managing a knee situation. So that happens. Like when you have a great team, a team that's built to win a championship, if there's no consistency, if there's guys that's on your roster that don't know if Paul George don't know if I got to go in the mindset of being the number one option or the number two option, that can hurt you when you get to like the midseason, when you get to the playoffs, because it's just like I don't know what Paul George I got to be. I don't know. I got to be the Paul George with Kawhi, and I'm saying like quote unquote Paul George words. I'm going to be the second option, or I don't know if I got to be Paul George, the man that took the Los Angeles Clippers to their first ever Western Conference Finals. So those things happen, and even with the role players like Reggie Jackson, do I got to score more, or do I got to dial it back? All those things can be issues if Kawhi Leonard is not playing or they don't have that roster doesn't have any consistency to go off on. So that's kind of like my only little concern.
Right, and also too, when you think about it from like a night to night basis, it's like, damn, one night, if you bring up Paul George, one night it's like, all right, I gotta try and go for 40 tonight. Versus, all right, one
Yeah.
night I can completely focus and lock in on guarding the best player on the floor. That can potentially cause damage on an entire team. So I know obviously Kawhi isn't doing this with intent, but at the
Mhm.
same time, it's as a player, especially a role player, supporting cast, whatever. It's nice to know that the leader of your team, the number one option, whatever, is available and is going to be playing.
Mhm.
But I want to um, chop it up to you about a specific team for my cap or no cap. Um, Cap or no cap, the Oklahoma City Thunder will make the playoffs within the next 3 years.
Cap.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
wa- I was watching their game against the Mavs, and I'm like, SGA, it's cold, but who else is on
Yeah.
this damn roster?
Yeah.
I'm so serious.
Yeah. They
You know,
got a lot of players, a
look,
lot of young
Chet,
players.
got a lot of young players, but Chet and Victor, you know,
If they can get Victor.
if, hell, the damn Pelicans might be able to get Victor.
At the Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
know, I'm locked in.
That's really crazy to think about. That's really crazy to think about. How crazy would that be? But yeah, I don't know. The OKC Thunder is one of those situations where we just talk
That's
about
so embarrassing.
like SGA, like when does he get tired? I think we had this conversation these next 3 years and seeing that.
Would you be excited to be on if you're SGA?
No, because it's just like at some point.
No, would you? Now, I'm not saying should SGA. I'm asking would you, Ahmad? Would you be excited
if
if
I
you
was
were in an
SGA
SGA position? Yeah.
For my first few years in the league, yeah, because I'm racking up points, getting
There we go.
getting the talk. People call me the most underrated player in the league. People saying this and that. Like people know my name. Yeah, my stats. Because when you're a young player, I hate to. I always tell people the young players. Shoot, Luka got a what? Usage was like over 40 so far this
That
season.
is nuts.
Luka is
Swing the rock.
Luka is getting them stats. He's working on his all time the all time categories that he's gonna have in the next 10 years and stuff like that.
I'm not mad at it, King.
He's building his catalog, so I'm not really mad at it when you're a young player. But it comes a point in time where you start looking around like, all right, well, it can only go one or two ways. You could be a Luka Doncic where you're racking up stats and then, going to Western Conference Finals and then possibly start elevating and going to the finals and things like that. Or you could be a Bradley Beal where you got all these stats and you're racking up all these stats and people know you're one of the most underrated players in the league. And sometimes you go to the All-Star game, but when we start looking at the grand scheme of things, when we talk about, all right, you got your stats and your numbers and stuff like that, but then we talk about winning, all NBA teams, playoff appearances, like potential Hall of Fame later on in your career. When you start looking like, damn, I'm not hitting none of those checks. Then you start looking like, well, I got my checkbook. My checkbook is stacked. I got my money, and that's what it comes about. Now it's just about the money you have in the bank. So that's what I'm saying. It depends. Like it's all good right now for SGA because it's early on, but SGA is gonna have to ask himself like, what player does he want to be? Does he want to be the lone wolf on a bad organization that's fighting for a play-in situation year after year where you're the man and you're getting that money? Or do you want to be a guy that's competing for all NBA teams, all-star appearances, having playoff success, and possibly going to the finals? So,
Yeah, I will say, to your point too, SGA is still a young, ball player, and hey, as of right now, man, the thoughts of potentially winning a championship may not be that high right now, but in the meantime, get them points.
yeah, get your numbers.
Don't lose and put up goose eggs. That's just a nasty combination. One or the other maybe, but don't just vibe. So but yeah, hopefully the Thunder can get it situated
I would say
sooner
this
rather than later.
It's crazy because we had a player. I think Donovan Mitchell's 26, right?
Yeah, I think he's out of the
Yeah,
25
he's out of the
part.
25. SGA's 24. So, like I said, these next 2-3 years, we had a young player in Donovan Mitchell who got the money, had success as a rookie, was the best player on the playoff team as a rookie and leading his team to the playoffs, and that still wasn't enough for Donovan Mitchell. So that's the same thing with SGA. SGA, he been to the playoffs one time. That was with Chris Paul, of course, and mostly Chris Paul kind of got all the credit because when Chris Paul came, he helped them elevate them to the playoffs. So, but that's just what it is. Without Chris Paul, they're not going to the playoffs. So if Donovan Mitchell got tired and these are both two players in cities that nobody wants to be in. If Donovan Mitchell got tired and wanted to get out, and he had the bag, and he had the, he was being the first option, leading his team to the playoffs, and that still wasn't enough. What do you feel like if you're a player that's not even doing that? And just keep constantly tanking. You're not even close to the play until you're just tanking. Year after year, you're just tanking. And you in OKC for half the year. Yeah, give me the hell up out of there. Couple more years, give me the hell up out of there. I gotta go.
Yeah, hey go. Man. Yeah, that's I didn't even think about that. That's a dangerous addition.
That's dangerous
to make it worse. Losing and I'm bored out of my mind. What the hell is going on?
Bored out of my mind.
One or the other.
You see SGA in Fashion Week in New York in the summer, fall. He enjoying himself, going overseas. He got to.
And then you go back down there, man. Shout out to Oklahoma City though.
Yeah.
Shout out to OKC. But yeah, man. But yeah, y'all know what it is. All right. Another episode, No Pump Fakes. We gone. Peace, y'all.